Our theme this month is renewal. And my topic today is being renewed by the transforming of our minds. Being renewed by the transforming of our minds. And that particular topic is inspired by one of my favorite biblical passages. It comes from the book of Romans. It was in our affirmations. It's the first part of Romans 12:2, where it says, "Be not conformed to this age, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Be not conformed to this age, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." I'm going to do some of the linguistic stuff about that. You know, the New Testament, as I've said often, the earliest transcripts that we have of that are in Greek. And there are certain verb tenses in Greek that we don't have in English. And one of them is called the present imperative, which means a continuous and a repeated action. And it's such a shame that we don't have that in the English language, because it makes it difficult for us to understand spiritual principles. So say, for example, in English, if I say to you, "Be still," you don't know if I'm talking about like just right now or not, or for how long. But in the language itself, it's continuous and repeated. Love your neighbor is continuous and repeated. Forgive, continuous and repeated. It's always in that verb tense. This is so important because in our society, we're waiting to be over. We're waiting for it to be finished. We have this linear way of thinking that isn't true, as though there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. There is never a beginning, a middle, or an end. Once again, even linguistically, in Genesis, when it opens up with, in the English language, we say "in the beginning," like it's a point in time, but it's not in the beginning, it's in beginning. In beginning. And it's feminine, by the way. A continuous and a repeated process. The things are always in the beginning. Are you with me? So it's so important because we think, well, I did that. Aren't I finished? Don't I get to graduate? Why is this happening again? Because in our minds, mastery is completion. In our Western mind, mastery is the ticket to you don't have to do it anymore. But that's not true. Mastery is when it becomes so repetitive that you do it with grace and ease. That's mastery. Mastery is when, as Howard Thurman says, with unconscious awareness and deliberate intent, where you are so rooted in it. And when you look at it, when you think about it, the folks who are the masters, are they not the ones who are living it every single day? If you're talking about a Dalai Lama, if you're talking about an artist, the mastery is not, "Oh, I got this, I can now not do it anymore." It's just the opposite. The ones that we consider to be the experts, the know-it-alls, they don't perceive themselves as know-it-alls. They are the perpetual students. The ones with all the doctorate degrees and they're writing all the books, they keep studying, they keep growing, and they keep sharing with the rest of us what they're learning. Even if you have a favorite artist, you should be able to see an evolution over time of their work, of their lyrics, of their painting, of their perceptions. Are you with me? Continuous and repeated. That first part, be not conformed to this world, is extremely important. Because most of us are busy trying to renew, but we're doing it in the ways of the world in a conformist way. Be not conformed to this age, but be ye transformed. That conformed. I'm using the Bible, but I will only teach principles that are universal. I will never, ever teach doctrine. I will never, ever teach anything that is particular to one particular group. Ever. If it cannot stand the test of time, if it does not appear in all the great wisdom traditions, we're not teaching it. We're not going to do, and that's not to say that there aren't important from a cultural standpoint. Like, I'll have a lot of people here who are whatever. They go to the temple. They go to the Catholic Church. They go here, there. And it's like, and honor your traditions. And I encourage you to do that. But here, we're only doing the stuff that's universal. So everybody has to be rooted in something. I'm rooted in my Christian background. So I teach from there because that's where I can stand. It's not at the exclusion of anything, but everybody's got to stand somewhere. The Dalai Lama's Buddhist. Okay? Mother Teresa was Catholic. Desmond Tutu is an Episcopal priest. Martin Luther King was a Baptist minister. Okay. Stand somewhere. Are you with me? You don't have to be narrow and exclusive, but stand somewhere. So in this verse here, 12:2, from the book of Romans, in the New Testament of Scripture, my favorite Bible is a Hebrew Greek Key Study Bible because it allows you to go back into the linguistic studies and to see which words were actually being used. Depending upon the translation, sometimes instead of be conformed to this world, it's translated as don't be conformed to this age. And either one of them would be accurate. Because the world is not referring to the planet. The world is referring to human race consciousness. It's the stuff we have created. When it says like the stuff of this world, it's not talking about the soil, the planet. It's saying the stuff that we've come up with. Our paradigms, our customs, our beliefs, our traditions. Be in the world, but not of it. It's talking about that. It's not saying don't be separate from the planet. I want to make that very clear. This is not one of these speciesism things. It's saying like human beings are up here and we're not to be connected to the planet. No, this is don't be conformed to the worldly stuff that we are creating. I love it. The roots. It's from the root word sun, means together with, and schema, out of which we get fashion or form. And it makes it very plain. And it's like it pulls it all together, and I love it because in this particular thing, it's called the lexical aid, where it'll go with the certain words and tell you what they mean. It's an aid in the back of the book. Do not fall in with the external and fleeting fashions of this age. The fleeting fashions of this age. Don't fall in with it. To conform is to go along with. Okay. First, we're informed, we take it in, and then we conform, we go with it, with the forms. Okay? Do not fall in with the external and the feeling fashions of this age, nor be fashioned by them, but undergo a deep inner change. This transform that's being used, the Greek word is the word for metamorphosis. Metamorphosis. Okay, and I'm going to come back to that because that's a particular kind of a transformation. Undergo a deep inner change. This is not an outer change. This is not, I'm going to move a different place. I'm going to get a different relationship. I'm going to change my hairdo. I'm just going to lose some weight. It's not that kind of change. It's a metamorphosis. It's an inner change that has to happen. Do not fall in with the external and fleeting fashions of this age, nor be fashioned by them. Don't fall into them, and don't let them dictate to you who you're going to be. But undergo a deep inner change, this metamorphosis, by the qualitative renewing of your mind. It's a qualitative renewing. Be not conformed to this age, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Transformation is a certain kind of change. Not all change is transformation. That's what I'm saying. A lot of times we just want things to be different. We just need some change. But just because you've changed doesn't mean it's transformed. Case in point, I don't know, past 20-something years, 24 years or whatever, every 8 years, we've changed the administration in the White House. There hadn't been any transformation yet. Drastic changes. Can I have some water, please? Can you see that? Excuse me. Drastic change in your life does not mean it's transformed. So you can do stuff really radical in the outer, but that doesn't mean it's transformed. Now, it's an interesting thing about transformation. There's to inform, to take it in. You conform, you go with it. And a lot of us, instead of transforming, we just reform. We reform. We just take the same stuff and we do it a little bit differently. This is part of the problem I find with recovery. Is that for some people, they reform, but they don't transform. They reform. They're not doing that particular thing anymore. They're not drinking, but they're a dry drunk, quote unquote. They're not doing this, but now it's tobacco, or we've traded alcohol for sex, or sex for work, or this for that, or this for whatever. But the underlying stuff hasn't healed. Are you with me? And that's too much of what happens in our outer political stuff as well. That we're doing a lot of reforming, taking the same stuff, but reorganizing it. And it's like that old saying, rearranging the chairs on the deck of the Titanic. Still going down. But when transformation happens, something else happens. When transformation takes place, you no longer recognize what you're looking at for what it used to be. Listen to what I just said. When there's real transformation, you're not looking at something and marveling at how much it's changed. When there's real transformation, you can't even see what used to be there. I had a really good friend, really, really, really close friend, who died of AIDS, probably like 92, 93. I moved up here in 90. So I knew him in Los Angeles. He was a classmate of one of my former partners in chiropractic school, David. And we all used to call David the queen of garage sales. You could be going to a restaurant or something, and we'll be there seating, and it's like, where is David? And somehow David has found something in the neighborhood or whatever. And then you go to his house, and there's all this beautiful stuff, whatever, this sofa or this mirror or whatnot. And it's like, David, where did you get that from? Oh, that's so-and-so. That's that chair? That's that chair? You're kidding me. You can't even see that chair. Are you with me? That's what transformation looks like, where you can't even be recognized. You're going to have an opportunity to see real transformation here. So 2 weeks from now, I'm going to be speaking in Sacramento at the Sacramento Centers for Spiritual Living. At first, I was going to be keynoting at a march at the Capitol the day before, but there are a couple of marches that have merged together. And now, I forgot the name of it, but the teenagers now that are marching for like gun control, they've like taken over that march. But I'm still going to be up there and speaking there. Speaking here is going to be a double hitter. We have two people speaking. One is Kalin Hadley, and the other is Paul Engen. They've been here before. If you've been around, you've seen them before. They both used to be lifers in prison. And we first met them, 17, 18 years ago. And they are co-founders with us of the program that we do in prison. Okay. We've worked for them many years inside and out. Kalin graduated, he's been out maybe 4 years now. He got his master's in social work from Dominguez Hills. Some of us went down for that. And I think he's actually going to get in any day. He's waiting for his acceptance into USC's Doctorate of Social Work program. I actually think he's going to get in. Okay? And Paul's life is just as remarkable in the businesses that he's started and the families that they've started. And Paul is about to start college. at whatever, like 60 or something like that. Why not? Okay? And they're going to be the guest speakers. And I am telling you now, if I had not told you, Paul did 28, Kalin did 20, and if I did not tell you that they had been ex-lifers, you would not know. You would not know. They are now inner light practitioners. And it's the last time that I ever planned on introducing them to the community as ex-lifers. They are coming here like as part of this community, and we all change and don't need our pasts like thrown in our faces. It's not to try to hide anything. In fact, Kalin wants to do his doctorate about decriminalization and the whole prison system. They're both working very much on transformation and whatnot. There was a question that was asked in the reading from the spirit letters, those downloads I get, and this one was from the letter called Transformation in the second volume of the letters from the Infinite series called Your Deepest Intent. And the question was, is it okay if you not be recognizable? Listen to what I am saying. Don't take that question lightly. Because when you really transform, you're not going to be recognizable. Let that breathe. And is that okay? I was sharing in our praying how there was a song that was really on my heart in one of those dark, dark hours when Inner Light was first starting. It's an old spiritual about, I told Jesus it would be all right if he changed my name. And the Bible is full of name changes, and they signify a change of character. Whatever that was. Abram to Abraham. Simon to Peter. I mean, there's all these changes, and it means they're another person now. They've become something else. And I used to sing this. It was like a slow dirge. And I told Jesus that it would be all right. And if he changed my name. It's this morning thing, and it goes on and on and on. And it comes back. But your mother, she won't know you, child. And this one won't know you, and that won't know you. And then it comes back around. But I told Jesus, like, it'll be all right. It'll be all right if you change my name. And if you change my name. A lot of times we sabotage ourselves from full transformation because we're wanting to stay conformed to things we're already committed to. Take a breath. Because we're committed in certain relationships. We're committed to certain jobs or careers. We're committed to certain organizations or this or that. Do I have any witnesses in the house? And we're afraid. We're afraid to transform. And what I'm going to ask you to do is to trust. Is to trust. Because what I know, I can hear my mentor Beckwith in my head now, we are holding each other in mediocrity. We are holding each other in mediocrity. Where we've made a pact not to change. Whether it's implicit or explicit, we've made this pact that says that love looks like we're going to keep doing it this way. Sustainability, commitment, or whatnot, this is the way we do this school, this is the way we do these classes, this is the way, this is the way, this is the way, this is the way. When nature renews, nature transforms as well. And this renewing is to be in our mind. Then when we think, literally there are chemicals that make nerve endings snap together. And the more we think something repeatedly, we create these networks. So they're reinforcing and they're reinforcing and they're reinforcing. And it isn't just that the wires keep reinforcing in our heads, but they produce chemicals within the body that become familiar, and then we make these couplings of this emotional feeling and these thoughts. It's how we get habits, and it's how we get conditioning. So we get literally in a loop. It's a rut. But you hear me say all the time, a rut is not no motion, a rut is repetitive motion. Not that there's nothing happening, but the same thing is happening over and over and over and over and over again because we have conformed to this age, because we have conformed to this world, because we are going along with the structures, the systems, the ideas, the attitudes, and there comes some point in time where we have to be brave enough to ask questions. The quality of your life is determined by the level of the questions that you ask. The quality of your life is not determined by what happens to you. The quality of your life is determined by the level of the questions that you ask. Are you asking the same old questions? And are those questions getting you to higher heights of awareness? Or are the questions that you're asking keeping you in the loop-de-loop? Why is this always happening to me? Why is this always happening to me? Why is it nothing ever goes right? Why is everything always going wrong? The level of that question, that line, it's going to keep you someplace. Are you with me? As long as those are your predominant questions, the questions of the victim mind, you're not going anywhere. It's got to evolve. You go, why is this always happening to me? Why is this always happening to me? Yeah. Then we might elevate a little bit, why is this happening again? That's at least a little step up. It's not so much at me, but why is it happening again? But if we could knock it up even just a little bit more, just why is this happening? Can you feel? Why is this happening to me versus just why is this happening? And I'm not even saying that's the most evolved question, but just going from that to why is this happening, whether it's on an individual level or a collective level, will at least get your mind out the loop-de-loop and able to take in something else. Are you with me? So we can resonate and we can see and we can feel something else. When I say the level of the questions, that means we have to question what we think we know. We have to question who we think we are. I like the way that Lynn Twist puts it. She says, the problem is not our unanswered questions. The problem is our unquestioned answers. The problem is not our unanswered questions. The problem is our unquestioned answers. The unexamined assumptions of our life. This is just the way that it is. Of course, it's got to be this way. And until we start tackling that, whether it's on the individual level or it's the collective level, that's part of what's exciting now about the #MeToo movement. That's part of what's exciting now about younger people taking a look at gun control. It's exciting. Because we aren't just going along with the assumptions anymore that this is the way that it's got to be. Isn't that wonderful? See? Then maybe you can start to have some transformation. But you can't have transformation without the questioning. You can't have transformation without dislodging, without moving away from the ways in which we've conformed. And that becomes a form of collusion as we keep going along with things and going along with things and going along with things. And even if you don't do anything, I mean it, even if you never tweet a word, even if you never march or anything, just questioning in your mind, why not? Why not a world that works for everyone? Why not justice? Why not equality? Why not fairness? See? A collective consciousness that says it's impossible creates one vibration. A collective consciousness that says, why not? Creates a whole nother vibration. You want to be renewed? You want to be restored? Ask some bigger questions. Challenge yourself on what it is that you think that you know. And allow some fresh new insights to come. We get so attached to what we think that we identify with what we think. So I don't want to learn something new. I don't want to feel something different because then I won't be me. Where I already know what I'm going to think before it even happens. No. There's so much more about you that you don't know. There are powers and capabilities and capacities that you have that you haven't even tapped into. Because we're so busy seeing ourselves for who we used to be. All you have to do is just open up wide. That question I mentioned last Sunday that Howard Thurman used to always ask, who are you? Really? Who am I? Really? Who am I? Really? Who are we? Really? telling you, we are in exciting times. Nerve-wracking, yes. But that's the stuff of transformation. I'm going to end on this. The most classic image of the metamorphosis is the butterfly. Right? You have the caterpillar. It goes into the cocoon. One by one by one. Everybody has to go into their own cocoon. Are you with me? Everybody in your own. You're born alone. You die alone. You transform alone. Listen to what I'm saying. Because most of us are busy trying to drag other people with us. And I don't want to change till you change. And you changing and we haven't changed. And is it time to change yet? And can we? No. And if you don't go willingly, the universe will drag you into that cocoon. Snatch you, like I talked about last week, just as you are. No escaping it when that moment comes. Goo is good. Let the goo be for gladness. Everything melts down. Can we have the patience to live through the meltdown? A deconstruction. Can we not freak out at the collective deconstruction? Can we not freak out at that? It's necessary to become goo. You can't get the full transformation without the goo. Can we let ourselves individually and as society be goo? You can't have it all. There comes the moment of the meltdown. But within it are the imaginal cells. Within it is all the DNA and all the stuff for what's next. Already coded within it. But you had to let go of what you were. And in the meantime, feel like nothing. Like goo. Like meltdown. Which isn't fun. And it's not pretty. Don't judge it. Just be in it. If you're in goo now, just be goo. You're on your way to butterfly. It's okay. You prayed this day. That's right. We've prayed this day collectively because we're on our way to being the butterfly. Don't be fooled. Don't run back and talk about the good old days of the caterpillar. And when that cocoon sloughs off, a butterfly doesn't hatch out. When that cocoon sloughs off, it looks like a fat, slimy, hairless, kind of slug-looking thing. With these itty bitty teeny weeny little wings. Itty bitty bitty teeny weeny. And that little creature works and redistributes, like blowing up a balloon, into the veins of those wings. And it happens like 5 minutes. But it sacrifices itself, all right, with me, and redistributes all of its mass into these wings. Okay. You don't even just get to hatch a butterfly. You still got work to do. Even when you're not goo anymore, you still have some more sacrificing to do. You still have to transform all that fatty stuff that you're holding on to and pump and pump and pump and pump, stoom, to get your wings. And all of us are somewhere. And different aspects of society are somewhere. This community is in this. This is the stuff of the stuff. Okay. Bless it all. Amen. Have patience, because somebody might be at a different spot than where you are. You may be a butterfly. Don't judge the caterpillar. There's nothing wrong with being a caterpillar. It needs to be a caterpillar until it doesn't. And it's all right. Everything serves its purpose. So don't stand where you are being critical. Don't be mad at the butterflies for deserting your caterpillar tribe. And butterflies, don't be mad at the caterpillars for being stuck in the past, and why don't you get over it? In the cocoon, don't be pissed off at everybody because you think the party's going on without you. I can tell by the laughter, I don't need to say more. Let's just pray. Let's just pray. Amen.